Alright guys, Kremp again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Optimism around Black Ops 7 continues, but Scump says that as far as he's concerned, he doesn't care what the game's like. He just wants one key issue to be resolved. But as it stands, Scump isn't very confident that's actually going to happen based on what has occurred over the last few years. And Scump reveals that in many respects, it doesn't feel like anything is changing on this front. Is BO7 ruined before the game has even begun? Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. A couple of things to start off with. Top 15 highest career average placements in the CDL only. Now, Mercules has now played a fair few events. I mean, he's played 4. Major 3, Major 4, Champs, Esports, World Cup. He's averaging a 2.25 career placing, which isn't too bad. Now, Simp and aBeZy and Cellium in the CDL only, they are averaging a 2.85. And then next up is actually iLLeY, which is pretty impressive, really. I mean, look, iLLeY was obviously in 2020. It was easier to place higher because they were home series. There were only 8 teams. It was pretty straightforward if you were a solid team to make the finals that year in a lot of those events, so your average placing gets pretty good, and then iLLeY hasn't played over the last couple of years, but even then, you know, I think it's still pretty impressive that iLLeY is number 5 on this list all time in the CDL, ahead of course, a number of the other OpTic guys. It is pretty close though, right? Like, it's Mercules, it's the trio, and then it's basically everybody else, right? The numbers get kind of different. Super's averaging a 3.75, which is actually really impressive as well, given that, he only came in halfway through the season, kind of similar to Mercules, a little bit earlier, of course, than he came in compared to Mercules. But still, good season for him on Heretics. Is that going to stay that way? Maybe not. Then it's Scrap with a 3.83, and then it gets really kind of tight, right? So Formal's at a 3.87 on average, of course, now retired. Shotzzy slightly behind that at a 4.03, tied with Envoy. Then Insight, which is pretty impressive, right? Insight just ahead of CleanX, which is interesting, because CleanX played a little bit before Insight arrived onto that Toronto team, and they tended to get better when Insight did eventually arrive. Then Kremp, then Scump, then Drazah. Those are your top 15. So pretty remarkable, I thought. Certainly seeing iLLeY up in 5. But if you take that difference between Simp, aBeZy, Cell, and then iLLeY, between basically like 4th and 5th, and then you add that difference again, it takes you all the way down to basically 15th, right? 14th, 15th. So yeah, that's how kind of dominant in some respects the trio were, but not in terms of, let's say, winning too many tournaments at the end of the day. There has also been some questions. I mean, they won plenty, but you know what I mean. What's happening with the process? When's it going to arrive? As a recording, we don't really have an update on it yet. They did say that it was going to be August sometime, but then, of course, they won the World Cup, so they decided, all right, it makes sense to delay it, right, and add some more elements to the story because it's an important story to be told. All they said was it'll be ready in September. It is now September, so, you know, we'll just have to wait for an update, I suppose, in that one. But the big drama I wanted to get into was around cheaters in competitive COD. I mean, not even just competitive COD, but just Call of Duty in general. We know that over the last few years, it's continued to be a major conversation, even at the kind of top level with the likes of Jimbo, famously, and, well, some other players making some questionable moments. Obviously, this one with Shotzzy making this clip a couple of years ago was pretty legendary as well. I mean, look, he knew that there was probably going to be someone sitting in that corner, so it was just a good read, but, you know, there's been all sorts of talk. Oh, is this Challengers player doing anything dodgy? Has he got some sort of wall hack which allows him to see on the mini-map at the bottom corner what's going on? Has he got a second monitor telling him what he sees? And given the anti-cheat hasn't been especially strong, it's been difficult to say a lot of these things. Jimbo, we think, was hacking online in some Challenger Cups and then turned up to LAN and got banned. So it's all been going on, and usually in the off-season, Doug Sensor Martin is the man to step up to the plate and get the job done in terms of being the, you know, let's say the hero and taking down all the hackers in the game. Maybe he'll be back on that again this time around. I thought this is a pretty funny clip that Scump found up of Doug talking some trash when he used to be Graffiti a couple of years ago. But Scump was also talking in some depth about the hacking problem that we currently have in Call of Duty. Just COD in general, not even just competitive COD, but it does apply to both. Because Warzone, it's been a major issue. If you're a top streamer, it's something you're running into almost every single game. Even in Scump's clip, he talks about how, you know, the streamer that he was watching at the time was running into hackers, reporting them, trying their best, but it wasn't really to be. There's been talk as to whether, let's say, the developers from Treyarch or whatever game it is should be sitting there in the chat with some of these guys and just, well, if there's a blatant hacker, they could just ban them then and there. At least that would actually make things work. But it doesn't really work like that. The anti-cheat doesn't seem to be especially effective. I know for the last few years we've seen so many cheaters just go unpunished and get increasingly blatant with what they're trying to do and seemingly getting away with it. And Scump says that, yeah, BO7, there's lots of hype, there's lots of optimism, and a lot of it for rather good reason. The game looks pretty good. But the problem is, from Scump's perspective, is that it's still not going to be the same if these issues still occur. And Nadeshot says that in some respects, it's the worst that it's ever been.
That bomb. Ah.
Oh my.
That might be Jizzle. And there it is.
Oh Lord.
Dog shit, dog shit. Free map where you still can't win. Fuck out of here.
Top 24 on land. Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Whoa! Whoa!
What?
Ooh.
What?
You do have a ring. GG's, bro.
Wait, what?
What the fuck is going on?
Oh, I did not mute immediately. Wait, what did Preston say?
He said dog shit, dog shit.
Oh no.
And then Doug said top 24 on land. Shut the fuck up, bitch, or something like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then Preston just said he had a ring, and then Doug said, yeah, you do got a ring, and then he like bit his lip.
Yeah, Christ, he does have a ring.
Oh my god.
Oh nah nah, what's my name? Oh nah nah, I'm in pain. I'm in pain. They got the if I see Team Ricochet put out one more fucking tweet patting themselves on the back about the amount of hackers they banned, I'm going to fucking lose it!
Yeah, no, we're good.
How? Can you spend any time or resources telling people how many people you banned when the hacking has never been worse? It's only getting worse. There were less hackers before they tweeted about all the hackers that they banned. How, Sway? You fucks! What are you tweeting about? Why are you telling us? Nobody cares.
Yeah, he's gone.
Is that for fucking shareholders? I don't know. I truly can't figure out the origins of.
Pissed off though? Yeah, but it's like, I mean, I just don't like getting tilted like that on stream, because then it just takes away from the stream. Dude, Mason literally just reported a guy as we're talking about it. He literally just sent somebody. You might have missed it. I think Mason just died to a hacker. Look how checked he is, bro. He's so fucking checked. Oh my God. Bro, chat, you think they're ever going to fix the cheaters? Ever? I mean, at this point, it's like, it's been years. I don't know if they're ever going to fix this shit, dude. We did the podcast on Wednesday, and there's a lot of Black Ops 7 like leaks, a lot of hype around the game starting to come out. Dude, the number one thing, they gotta fix cheating. It should be number one on their board. I don't give a fuck what the game is like. Okay, obviously I hope it's great, but if they fix the cheaters, it'll already be a win in my book. A big win.
I'm not really sure if this is ever going to change, because we've seen it for so many years in Call of Duty. As long as it's on PC, there will be hackers that try and cheat in the game. It is what it is. And Activision, have they tried? They seemingly kind of have. Some of the cheat manufacturers, they've tried to shut them down, tried to stay ahead of the curve, but the cheats are always going to be, it seems, ahead of the anti-cheat, which is trying to catch them. And it's always been an issue, and certainly on PC, it probably always will be. We know that guys like Havoc have tried to go and play COD and ranked play and everything on console to try and resolve some of the cheating issues there, and that's worked to a certain extent, but it's still not been perfect by any means. In Warzone, this is an especially big issue. In ranked, it's a problem as well. Thankfully, in competitive COD, you would think everything is okay. Certainly in the CDL, everything is fine and dandy, right? Although, let's not forget a few years ago when Awakening first came into the league at MW19, there were Slacked among others that thought that maybe Awakening was a little bit too good to be true in terms of his awareness, right? So, but maybe as it turned out, he just had the headset cranked and sound equalization or whatever. There's all sorts of theories that came out about that in hindsight. But I think Scump is right to kind of say, look, we've talked about this for so long now, and even if they make some little step towards it, it's going to be a major deal for Call of Duty, even if the game itself doesn't, let's say, deliver on all fronts. And I think COD recognize this. They've talked about it. They do some tweets. I mean, they said on the 26th of August that, like, we're improving Ricochet, we're adding new detection tools, we're going to stop the cheaters earlier and all this, we're fighting the cheaters. So, look, they can say what they like. Does it make it real? Doug says, look, like, let's be transparent with the actual news and the actual reality of this, because it's still not ideal. And even Nameless says, if Ricochet works properly, we're going to have an amazing year. Hopeful. But I think we've been hopeful for the last, 5 years, and nothing's really changed. So I don't think, until anything actually happens and does change, I don't think there's much optimism in the competitive Call of Duty scene, or even just the COD scene in general, this is ever going to get fixed. And yeah, Battlefield will come along, and people will cheat in Battlefield as well. That is just how it seems to be. But very much into your thoughts in the comments below. I just did want to quickly share this. So yesterday we were talking about the best clutches in competitive Call of Duty history, and there was one that came to mind. It was this one on Hunted, and I thought it was by Havoc, but you guys corrected me and said no, it was Nagafen. The reason why I thought it was Havoc, I think, is because Havoc is actually the last player to die in this clip, and he also had that 1v4 that we saw yesterday. But this is a CWL match between Elevate, as it was, I think, at the time, and then Envy on the other side of things. So, it's Aqua, it's legendary names here, right? We even mentioned the other day, best players to never win the World Championship. I think I don't know if Naga ever actually won a tournament, but he was a quality player, certainly during the Jetpack era, was very highly rated for good reason, and yeah, he was on this legendary team, and he had a nice little, disgusting 1v4 here against Team Envy. The fact that he clutched this in such short order as well, I'll just play it again for the start, because I just, what a great game, what a great map. You see he's got full streaks at this point as well. He's got the dart, he's got the lightning strike. Back in the day that we actually used to use these streaks in Search and Destroy, and you could use the lightning to get a ping. He peeks mid here with the M8. He's got the ELO on, and not using Afterburner, so he can put on Flak or whatever instead. And yeah, Slasher calls in the RC. Aqua destroys it, gets gunned down by JCap, and then his other boys go down as well. So yeah, the reason why I was mentioning Aqua is because, he's also one of the best players maybe never to have won the World Championship, pretty highly rated. For Cento and Remy were the other two guys on this team. And then they get a little bit too aggressive here, the Envy guys. They go running at him. JCap goes down. Probably, could it be Slasher's fault, the second guy? Then the third guy, TP, gets gunned. He pops camo and takes down Havoc. But very much into your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments below. Are we going to get some more plays like this going forwards, given that active camos potentially arriving back into the game? Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
This guy Seth is doing kill predictions for Tim. If Tim gets over 40 kills, I'll drop 10 subs in Method stream later.
I'll make a deal with you guys right now, okay? If Tim drops more than 40 kills in this map, I'm gonna gift the chat 10 gifted subs. I'm gonna gift 10 subs into the chat if Tim gets more than 10 kills here.
Bro, what the fuck is that? That was fucking nuts, actually. Tim said it better. That was insane.
I'll put 10 in here.
Is it? Are we in a simulation? Bro, he said the exact same.
Yo, 40,
that's insane.
40's actually, I feel like that's a good line for Tim. You said 10?
Yo,
How about 30?
we gotta
How about
clip that and
30
send that to
better?
Scump.
Holy shit.